All right, Shalom. First off, I want to say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Chakudash. Uh, Double honors to our apostles and elders from GMS, and all the brothers doing the work in sincerity and in truth. Shalom. This is Nazar Khad, GMS Precepts Ba. Okay. I have an article here from the Hill.com. As you can see here, it says NYPD officers told to prepare for protests before and after the election. Now, this article is dated the 13th of this month, 10/13, which was a few days. What was that? 10. Today's the 23rd, so this was 10 days ago. All right, so they're being told to prepare for protests because that's what's gonna happen. Once you see it's what they call they're psychologically preparing the people for protest. They're psychologically preparing them to be um uh, to be quarantined. Well, they've been doing that, right? And we know the quarantine, so-called quarantine, is happening all around the world, in France and Australia and parts of Europe. So we know um, that's going to happen here next. They're already talking about. Actually, today this article on the cover of the Drudge Report, it said what COVID's worst day. Deaths could hit 500,000 by February. This is not a drill. So they're already preparing you for um, so in order for them to control that, what are they gonna have to do? They're gonna have to lock down the country again, right? Um, but back to the article, they're preparing you. They're preparing the people's minds to get ready for protests. Okay, um, before and after the election, because no matter who wins, whether it's Biden, whether it's Trump, whether who wins the election, there's going to be a protest, man. And a few of these articles explain that. Let me just read a little bit of this one, right? Because they want chaos, they want turmoil, they want division. All right, so everything is going according to their plan, right? Because ultimately they want to lock down. They want to have an excuse to lock down this whole country. Now, this is in mind you, this is in New York, but in LA they've been warned also, right? It says NYP. Now this is from TMZ.com. I'm not even gonna read this just because it's TMZ.com, but I only got this article because it said NYPD and LAPD bracing for election protests, okay, and riots. All right, so it's not only so basically it's going to be what all the major cities, all the big cities that are going to be expecting these protests. And what happens with riots and protests? That's when the big boys come out. The militarized police come out. All right. Matter of fact, since I mentioned that, let me get the next article I had, and I'll read it. I'll come back to this. This is from Bloomberg Quint.com. It says Americans are frantically buying military gear before the election. Right? So why Americans? It didn't say police. It said Americans. So why are these Americans? What are they prepping for? Right? Why are they buying all this military gear for? But before the election, why? Because they feel like something's gonna happen, or they feel like if whoever they vote for that doesn't get voted in, they're gonna do something about that. All right, but I'll get back to the article. Let me read some of this about NYPD officers being told to prepare for protests before and after the election. Um, I'll just read this. It says New York Police Department commissioner reportedly told all uniformed officers to prepare themselves to respond to protests leading up to and following November's presidential election. CNN reported that Commissioner Dermot Shia wrote in a letter to officers that they could be deployed to protest as early as October 25th. Ooh, that's what, Monday? What is that? That's that's Sunday. All right, and I believe the election, we're less than 2 weeks away from the election day, the last day or the day of voting, the third, I believe. So they're saying they could be deployed as early as the 25th, which is this Sunday. Shea added that the November 3rd contest is one of the most highly contested presidential elections in the modern era, and the winner may not be decided for several weeks. Why? Because they're gonna. Why? Because they're gonna. That's why this whole voter fraud has been an issue. The tampering with the ballots. We can't count enough. See, you can do Esau can do all these things, but they can't make a system where they can count votes. Okay. Now, is that by coincidence or is that by is that done on purpose? All right. Okay. All this technology Esau got, but you can't count votes correctly. Come on, man. So accordingly, we should anticipate and prepare for protests growing in size, frequency, and intensity leading up to the election and likely into the year 2021. All right, so they're telling you that the winner might not be decided for several weeks. So what do you think is going to happen with those several weeks? People are going to be impatient. People are going to start preparing for who's going to win, who's going to lose, and if whoever they voted for is not going to go in, they're going to try to cause holy hell. All right, and then they're going to try to come after their elected officials. Right? Oh, this is your fault, blah blah blah, right? So since I mentioned that, let me get Second Ezra, the 15th chapter and the 16th verse, because that's a direct link to prophecy, right? That's what we're living in. We're living in a time of prophecy, right? So this is Second Ezra 15. I'll start at 15. In 15, it says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Now that those swords can be any. It could be a literal sword. It could be a gun. It could be a bat. It could be a knife. It could be any instrument used, a golf club. All right. It could be any instrument used to kill or cause harm. Right. So those are the swords. It could be a gun. Esau likes their guns. Americans like their guns. It says, "For sword and their destruction draw nigh, one people shall stand up and fight against another." So what is that speaking about? That's talking about those wars, man. The race wars, the class wars. All right, you're gonna have Americans fighting against other Americans. All right. Then it says, verse 16, "For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes." Now, who are the modern day kings and princes? Is your politicians. All right. It says they shall not regard them, and the word sedition, it means what? An uprising from one people to another people, meaning it's going to be an uprising from the common people to your politicians, your leaders, your pastors. All right, the ones that the people look up to. It's going to be sedition among them. It's going to be an uprising towards them. Okay? It says, "In the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So this is what NYPD, LAPD, and all the major cities around the country, this is what they're preparing for. They're preparing for the people to cause protests, just like what happened in New York, where they did looting, protests, all right, burning buildings, burning all types of cars, flipping cars over, right? But this go round, what can they do? They can enact martial law. They can cause a curfew. They can lock people up without charge. It could get real bad. Okay, right? It says it's really all hands on deck across NYPD. Okay, I think I read enough of this this article here. I got another one. This is from The Hill. This is from CNN. NYPD tells officers to prepare for deployment and inspection of election protests. Pretty much the same thing. Um, now, let me go back to this article here. Well, I had Googled militarized police in America because I said that once the people protest, they're gonna have a reason to bring out all their military gear. And for the past 15 to 20 years, the police have been militarized. Okay. And what's the point of doing that? Or reason for doing that? For reasons like this, for protests. Okay, American policing has become unnecessarily and dangerously military. This is the definition, or when I googled militarized police in America, it says American policing has become unnecessarily and dangerously militarized, in large part through federal programs that have armed state and local law enforcement agencies with the weapons and tactics of war, with almost no public discussion or oversight. Okay, so a lot of these weapons um, um, that these police are getting are directly from or the exact replica from what they use over there in the Middle East or in real wars against foreign armies and foreign soil. Now they're bringing those same weapons. They're bringing that here to use it on the American people. Okay, that's the definition of a police state, and that's exactly what we're living in. All right, so all these protests, all these Black Lives Matter, you wanna protest all this, or you want to protest. Okay, well they have an answer for you, and that answer is going to be an advanced butt of a gun to your forehead. You know, a brand new military weapons that they use over there to these heathens over there in the Middle East. They're gonna use those shiny weapons, those new shiny boots. Okay, dude, especially you niggas, they gonna have a field day, cause yeah, cause they have a lot of police. Yeah, cause make me laugh in the background, but they have a lot of police, okay, that hate niggas, that want and look for an excuse to use that shiny new baton, and crack it over your head. Anyway, uh, mhm. Right, right. Yaikwa, he just said in UK they passed a law where the police, they have liberty, or they have the freedom to kill. You said to kill. All agencies have a license to kill for any reason. All right, and that same policy is gonna come here in America, man. Anything that happens in any other country is nothing more than a test trial. What they're really doing it for is they're testing it in other countries, and ultimately they're gonna do it here. All right. So this article, it says Americans are frantically buying military gear before the election, right? Because it's gonna be It's gonna be a resurgence, just like it said, sedition among men. That prophecy is going to come to pass. When it says sedition among men, that's the regular people fighting against their government, fighting against their politicians, fighting against the militarized police, fighting against the Gurkha troops. That's why you have a lot of so-called preppers. What are they prepping for? They're prepping for times like this. They're storing food. They're they're buying up ammunition. They're buying up guns because they see, and the only people that can't see is you niggas, man. You niggas are just worried about voting for Biden, or voting, or you even trying, or the niggas that don't vote, y'all just worried about posting some twerking videos or some madness, or watching a rap battle, or whatever you niggas like to do. I don't know, but you niggas don't like to search it out anything of truth. Okay, uh, nothing but folly. So I'll read this real quick. It says, conflict is on America's streets in 2020, and tactical apparel has become a lifestyle. A lifestyle industry. See, Satan done fuck with my. I don't know what the hell happened to the article. I did it before. Um, it says, has become a lifestyle industry, serving militarized law enforcement agents and freelance gunmen who emulate them. Less than 2 weeks before election day, orders are rolling in. So all these orders of this military weapons, you see this guy with the headset, with the tactical gear on, the helmet. All right, all these regular people, they're gearing up for war. They're buying bulletproof vests. You see these guys here, they're at the shooting range. Edomites here at the shooting range with the tactical glasses, practicing on their gift, okay, on their craft, which is that You know, which is the sword. You see, Satan fuck with my. I can't even see the article no more. Wow, look at that. I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, Satan just got rid of the article. Let me see if I can go back to it. I think this is it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how long I can be on this article here, but I'll finish up. Yeah, this is some more gear. Okay, they got the gas mask. Okay. All right. All right. I mean, I guess that's it. I made the point here in the video. You got a lot of Americans that are preparing for war. You have the LAPD, NYPD, and other all as well as other uh, uh, towns and cities in America. They're preparing for war before and after the election. Okay, and I believe no matter who wins, I'm not sure who's gonna win. It could be Trump, it could be Biden. Whoever wins, just know it's gonna be all out chaos. Okay, NYCD officers told to prepare. They're told to be deployed as early as the 25th, which is this Sunday. So, like we've been saying through the Spirit, starting with our apostles of GMS on down, this year's a year of prophecy, and then one major prophecy that is going to happen, according to the Bible, is the sedition among men. And what is the sedition? Is an uprising or a fighting, not only between class wars or racial wars, because that's been brewing up at a high rate, but also it's an uprising or a fighting against the government leaders, like your politicians and so forth, your mayors. Hmm? Right. That's why Trump, back in June, he brought up what the Insurrection Act, um which is basically it's basically they can enact martial law. What's the exactly? Yeah. Let me since I mentioned it, let me in I remember I looked it up too. Insurrection. Here it is. Insurrection Act of 1807. Insurrection of 1807 is a law that empowers the President of the United States to deploy U.S. military and federalized National Guard troops within the United States in particular circumstance. All right. So this was something that he mentioned in June. Okay. Here it is. Here's an article of it. What is the Insurrection Act that Trump is threatening to evoke? Here's the definition. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them, Trump said in a short statement in the Rose Garden at the White House. All right, so it says to do that, the president would need to invoke what's known as the Insurrection Act of 1807. All right, and which is basically the president releasing the military, um, um, armed National Guard in the streets. All right, and that's what might very well happen. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it. Lord willing, you brothers are edified. You know what? Do I have? You know what? I got one more scripture. This is I didn't read this. This is Zechariah 14:13. Um, is this it? Yeah, it says Zechariah 14:13. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And that's showing you this who's responsible or who's gonna be responsible for all these wars, all the turmoil, all the racial turmoil, the class turmoil, the sedition among men against the leaders of the government is the Lord, man. It says the great tumult from the Lord, okay, shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one in the hand of his neighbor. So it's going to be what? Those wars between the people and the wars towards the government. All right, that's prophecy. And what are we in right now? We're in the year of prophecy. Okay? All right, so that's pretty much it. Lord willing, you brothers are edified. Until the next show, shalom.